Right, it is nearly Christmas, and that means one thing and one thing only. We have got about just over a week until the January transfer window swings open. And if we know our club Chelsea, if we know our owner Todd Bowley, you can guarantee we're going to be busy in this window. We've currently got about a 28-man squad. Transfer market lists us having 33 players, but I would say we've got about 28 because a lot of those players won't feature and under the age of 21 and whatnot. But we've heard Mauricio Pochettino's quotes that he does want to operate with around a 24-man squad. Now he's come into the club and he's realised exactly how injury-ridden some of our players will be. Maybe that would change ever so slightly. But myself and channel fan favourite and my good friend Josh Aveste are going to speak about January's possible comings, goings, and everything that we think that Chelsea needs to do in this window. Before we get into it, please do me a massive favour. Hit the subscribe button if you are new around here. Smash the like button on the video now. It helps me pump out this sort of content more than you can imagine. And also, Josh's channel is linked in the description to this video. Josh, what are we saying, mate? So we're looking at this Chelsea squad and we're thinking we need to cut in a few areas. We're also probably thinking we need to bolster a few areas. How are we going to start this? Should we start off talking about players that we think could possibly be cut from this squad in January?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, for me, the way that I'm looking at this is I'm looking at January, but I'm also looking at the summer as well. And we're going to put our directors of football hat on and we're going to go, at the start of next season, what is the squad going to look like, right? Let's think of it, because I don't think the directors of football are looking at it just from January. I think they're looking at it long term.
I think if we can get rid of them or get deals agreed in January, more the merrier.
Let's do it.
And that'll be good. But if not, this could stretch into the summer.
It can go into the summer, exactly. So I think what we should do is we should go through the players that do need to go, as you say. And for me, I've been looking at a few. There are a few really obvious ones, mate, and there are a few that I think you and I may disagree on. So let's get into it, right? The first one that I think has to go straight out the door is Sarr. Doesn't even have a squad number.
Poch don't even know who he is. Poch didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, exactly. Not even training with the first team squad. Bit of a joke that he's even still there. We signed him on a free. We always wanted to make some money from him, but we're not doing it. So I think that is one for me that needs to just go out in January. We need to get that done because he's just a guy that we're paying wages to that is like just taking up a slot. Well, isn't even taking up a slot because he's not even in the squad. But it's a bit of a joke, isn't it?
Yep, I'd agree. I'd agree with Sarr going.
So then we go on to another defender, Chalobah. That for me, we see him being perpetually injured, apparently. I think...
Is he, though?
I think there's a bit
injured?
of conspiracy going on here about a lower back injury. We see it all the time about people, he's got this little knock, this little tweak. I don't think it is. I think they really
I see him bowling the other day.
There you go. He looks fine.
You don't bowl with a lower back, not how because I'll swing the hip right into it.
You've got the spin, right?
Yeah.
He's been doing the Wii bowling. Christmas is coming up. He's been practicing on the Wii. He's got a very good score, almost 300. And Chalobah is that good at bowling, but by the directors of football, might not be that good at football. Bit harsh. I really rate Chalobah.
I love Trev.
I really like him. I really, really like him. But I do think he's going to be one of the first ones out the door. Apparently going to Roma, link up with Jose.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. Not a bad one. And I just think, again, when we're speaking about the money raised from selling these homegrown players, I think that it's, regardless whether we want it or not, if we're being realistic, it's a realistic one. And there's probably another one in there, homegrown player, who I think is a realistic one, and we'll touch on that. But that's 2 cut. So we still realistically got to cut another 2, haven't we? Definitely. If we're going to meet that 24-man barrier.
Definitely. So then let's get into another hard one. I think you've just mentioned him, a player that I don't think we should be selling, and I think it's another player that will buy us in the back, Maatsen. Bit of a weird one, mate, especially when you think, you've got 2 pretty serious injuries at the left-back area. Cucurella is literally taking photos of him in a hospital bed where he passed out watching Chelsea play football on his phone. Yeah. Chilwell perpetually injured, may never again be himself after the amount of injuries that he's had. And again, is a bit of a flight risk, just like Reece James is about, is he ever going to play properly for Chelsea? Is he going to be able to do 38 games a season, 50 games a season, what he's going to have to do when we're back in Europe, hopefully? So I think it's a bit of a dumb decision, but it almost seemed inevitable. It seems like it's almost a done deal now that he goes out, and we're hearing clubs like Borussia Dortmund being interested with him. You see the quality of people that are like quality of clubs. I do think we're going to really regret this one, but it seemed inevitable.
And the mad thing is, he was very rarely, if ever, playing at left back for us. And now the last 2 appearances, we've seen him come on a substitute. He has actually been in the left back slot. So it's a head scratcher. It's one that I think as a fan base, we'll swallow and we'll take it. Doesn't mean we're happy about it, but we'll swallow it. There's definitely other ones that we wouldn't swallow at all. So would you say we move him on then?
I think they're going to have to. Like, if it was my call, mate, I wouldn't be moving him on. But I think you're going to have to. Like, you've said it yourself, mate. There is a resurgence of Cucurella, regardless of the injury or not. It's been a complete resurgence from him. We were before when we did a similar video at the start of the season. We were happy for Cucurella to go and for Maatsen to be integrated. But Cucurella looks very, very good. He's got that sort of like 2 or 3 years more experience in the Premier League than Maatsen does.
Makes sense for us to play him as much as possible because of the money we've bought him in for to justify that. Then you got Ben Chilwell, who could possibly be ahead of him if he can keep himself fit. You got Levi Colwill, who, as much as we might not want to see it, Pochettino does fancy him in the left back slot. So then if you've got an asset there, which as we all know, 100% profit on academy, homegrown players, then business-wise, it's pretty bit of a no-brainer.
It's one of those things, mate, where it's like, we've got to now make some really difficult decisions to get players like Osimhen. Like, if you want Osimhen, you're going to have to sell probably 2 or 3 homegrown players to even afford him.
And if you said, didn't you, like if you had said to me, okay, we get rid of Trevor Chalobah, we get rid of Ian Maatsen and maybe an Amanda Broja or someone like that, and you can get Osimhen in, then I'm probably going to go, oh yeah, that softens the blow massively.
I'd do it. Yeah, that's the decisions that they're going to have to
How
make.
much do you reckon we can get for him, Maatsen?
I think they were talking to Burnley about 35 million, weren't they?
I think 35 mil is quite fair, yeah.
I think so too. But then if you got Dortmund and a bit of a bidding war, like maybe it's 40, maybe it's 42. I'd like to see them get that number up. But again, it's the time ticking down, that sort of thing. So
and the lack of minutes. How can you get it up if you're not getting constant minutes?
Exactly. It's not easy. So I do think Maatsen will be gone. I think he will be gone in January.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on. So that's 3 players already. We've culled there, innit?
It's a lot. Sarr, Chalobah, and
Maatsen.
Yeah, gone.
We got one more, realistically, if we want to meet that sort of 24-man squad mark.
So let's go.
Can I just say someone who we both agree absolutely no chance, no circumstance, no way that we want to see leave is Conor Gallagher.
It would be a joke.
Yeah.
I'd be gutted. And it would be another one where, do you know what? We were really hurt with Mason Mount. And I have to say, because you have to put your hands up with the ones you get wrong and you get right. I really thought that Mason Mount was going to be one of those ones that we got wrong.
He could still be. He could be. But then Conor Gallagher, like the energy that he has, the passion, like he wants to play for Chelsea. He's made that abundantly clear. He wants to stay. He wants to play. I don't think he would be on a load of money. He's a homegrown player. There's so many positives to him. It just doesn't make sense. But then they might have this sort of like this system, this plan where they want to sign all of these other players and they have to sacrifice Gallagher. Say you get 50 mil for Conor Gallagher, yeah? How can you trust that you're going to reinvest that 50 mil so much better than what you've got? Do you know what I mean? I get the whole 100% homegrown academy players and whatnot, but you can't say, right? So say, for example, if Conor Gallagher's doing what he's doing for Chelsea and he's playing for another side, yeah? Let's say he's playing for Brighton. We're fucking spending 70 mil on him or something, 80 mil on him. Yeah. So we're going to let him go for 50 mil just for someone else to have him. And I'll tell you what, like, people think, oh yeah, you just bumlit Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher gets into Liverpool's midfield. Conor Gallagher potentially gets into Arsenal's midfield. Conor Gallagher gets into a lot of top clubs' midfields.
He does. I almost think that, mate, there was a plan by the board and they've made this sort of like 4-window strategy. Do you remember they were talking about that, like 4-window plan that they were going to do? I honestly think that they had a plan for Conor Gallagher for him to go maybe last summer or maybe even this summer, right? In terms of their strategy. Because if you think about it, mate, they were bringing in Casadei, they were bringing in Santos, they brought in Lavia, they brought in a lot of central midfielders and they got in Ugo Chukwu and we've got Caicedo and Enzo. So that midfield area was stacked. Really, really, really stacked. And I don't think they anticipated Conor Gallagher to have a season in the way that he has, and also for the manager to appreciate him in the way that he does. And so I think they're now looking at it and they're going, shit, like we're going to have to either offload Gallagher or we're going to have to offload Casadei and Dos Santos. Maybe it's going to have to be both of them because, like, how do they get in the team if, Gallagher's struggling to get in the team, as you build the squad? So I think they fucked it a little bit. Because now Gallagher can't really be sold. The fans will go mad. But like they had this plan. So I think it's a bit of a tough one. But Pochettino's got to put his foot down and go, I really do want him. He said that over and over again, but he's got to put his foot down to the transfer guys and go, there's no way you can let him go.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's potentially going to be a pivotal and definitive point in our season and most notably in Pochettino and the board's relationship, because that's the sort of thing that a relationship can break down over. So we're very clear on our stance. In fact, I'd say bullish.
We're very bullish.
We're bullish on our stance there. Right, let's move on forward. I'm just looking at the squad now. Couple of names that maybe people could throw in the hat as potentially going out. Leslie Ugachukwu, don't see that happening at all. Wouldn't like to see him move on.
Nope.
Kane Chukwuemeka, again, a player that a lot of people are sleeping on, and albeit he's injured. I'll tell you one off. I'm going to throw one at you.
Yep.
Right? In fact, let me give you pretty much the ultimatum here, and you can tell me if there's others you think are in contention for the 4th spot.
Yep.
I believe it's going to be one of Noni Madueke, this is just my belief, or Amanda Broha. Am I right to assume that that's along the lines of...
So those are the two players that I'm looking at.
Right.
The way that I see it going, not necessarily the way that I would want it to go, is that Noni leaves in January on loan. I don't think he's sold in January. I don't think there'll be the interest in January. But I think in the summer, that might be a discussion that comes back up.
Yeah, I think if you sell Noni Madueke now, to be fair, we didn't bring him in for massive money, but I think if you sell him now, look, I'm all for him getting more starts and seeing him on the pitch a bit more. He hasn't done anything so far that's made me think, oh no, you're not good enough. I know you were at the match against AFC Wimbledon, weren't you? And he was lighting it up.
He looked great. He looked great. It's just one of those players, mate, that I don't think Poch fancies him. I think it's that simple.
But business-wise, it would make more sense. Do you know what I'm just thinking? Poch would know Noni Madueke, wouldn't he?
He did, yeah. It was Spurs Academy.
Yeah.
He knows him very well, actually.
Yeah.
And actually, they fell out at Spurs.
Did they?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Well, basically, he's just saying, I wanted some game time, and he didn't give it to him. He wanted to progress in his career.
Well, I mean, I want an 11-inch penis.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
there you go.
I'll just stick with like 9 inches.
Yeah.
No, it would be sad. It would be sad to see.
I think it's gone. I think he's gone. I think now we look at it, he's fallen out big time with Pochettino. He hasn't really torn it up when he's played for us. Really, he hasn't really had a lot of opportunities.
Hit the bar against Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant.
Yeah.
Great. Give
Plan
him
the parade.
Give him another 8-year contract for that. So
business-wise, sorry to interrupt you. Business-wise, I think the thing that makes most sense is to send him out on loan, try and elevate his value a little bit. I'll tell you what, if he went on loan to like a Crystal Palace or someone like that, I feel like he'd tear it up and definitely end up with them not finishing anywhere near the relegation zone. We could then demand, I reckon, a bit more than we paid for him, 10 mil more, maybe, if he had a really good loan spell somewhere, considering his age and whatnot. And unfortunately, and I wouldn't have been saying this at the start of the season, so you can definitely accuse me of short-termism here. And I'm not saying it's one that I would want to go. I'm trying to, like we said earlier, I'm trying to envision that if we do this bit of business that we're maybe suggesting could happen, it does result in us going and being able to get an Osman in the transfer market. So that's what that's the carrot that's dangling for me. And I think Noni goes out on loan, increases his value in the transfer market. We look at selling him in the summer, and in January, potentially, we look at selling Amanda Broha.
January is a little bit too early for me. The reason why I say that is because Osman isn't going to be able to come until the summer. And I don't think we're going to go for Tony. And I
don't really want Tony now.
Yeah, I don't either. And then there's this other guy that plays for Sporting, this new striker that they're saying is going to be like £100 million price tag. Bit of a mad one. But what I'm seeing is that the striker position isn't going to be resolved until the summer. And we need to sort of brace ourselves for the fact that we're going to have Jackson and Broja as our strikers for the rest of the season. And the quicker we do that is the better, because you don't sign a world-class number 9 in January. You just like give me 10 examples where that's happened. Give me 3.
Torres.
Okay, Torres, great. But then again, he wasn't even starting. He wasn't even. Go on. Was Van Persie a January?
No. Torres, Suarez, who came in. Papi Cisse.
Good player. Scored an unbelievable goal. Chat comments. Can you name any more than that? Because I'm interested
Best
to know
January number 9s.
Number 9s. Yeah. That's a very good question, actually. Very, very good question.
Can you think of any others?
I can't. I'm struggling to think of Ethan Torres. I forgot he was even in January.
Yeah, Torres came, didn't he? And he made his debut against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. I was at that match. They beat us 1-0 that day. And I'm pretty sure Raul Meireles scored the goal for him, maybe. Because he played for Liverpool forward, didn't he? January number 9's. It's an interesting one. I got one.
Go on.
Mido.
Great player.
Amir Zaki. No, he's from the start of the season.
You just named 2 Egyptians. Look, he's bringing it all back. The Nile. I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
let us know in the chat if you want like some of Josh's holiday photos.
Yeah. I've got loads of them.
Inbox him personally. Send them to you. Oh, we've gone completely off topic there. What was we even talking about? Chelsea, wasn't it? We talking about Chelsea.
I've forgotten.
Yeah. No, so would Broha be the one for you?
Broha doesn't go in January, but he goes in the summer.
But is he the 4th name?
He goes in the summer.
Yeah, but then we've only named 3. We've got a £25 squad.
We're only going to sell those boys in January because we're not going to sign anyone in January. We're not going to sign any serious talents in January. We might sign a few kids. I just don't see us. We're not going to get Osman.
Poch wants people in January though.
Who? Give me some names of people that we can realistically get that will change our season in January. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I really don't know either. I really don't know who I would say to go for in January. Like, I don't think we need another centre-back until the summer. No. Midfield, week by week, I'm flip-flopping and changing my mind. Sometimes I'm like, right, we do need someone in there. Sometimes I'm like, we don't need someone in there. If we could and we could get him for 60 million, I'll go with Paulinho, and maybe I'd offer someone in there to soften the deal. And there's probably like names from European football that I'm not too aware of. I know age profile wise, I've said it time in, time out on the channel, I want players over the age of 25. If we could drop like 3 25 plus year olds in there, I think that would be a good thing for us. And then again, with the striker business, I just don't feel like it will get done until the summer. However, I could see, like, if Arsenal or someone, maybe even a Liverpool, were making a ploy for Ivan Toney and a gap in the market opened up there, I could see us potentially going for him. So
I think it'd be a mistake. I think it would be a mistake going for Toney. I think Toney is very, very good. I just don't think he's Champions League level.
Yeah.
I don't think he's Champions League winning level. Definitely not that. So, and that's the level that we've got to go for now. So, yeah, mate, the number 9 is an interesting one. I'll tell you what, right, before we move on from the sales, there's a few others that slip under the net for me, right? Lukaku is still a member of the squad.
Yeah, but he's doing all right, though. We should get 40 mil for him, no?
So he'll be gone. Ziyech, still a member of the squad. He'll be gone in the summer. Kepa, still a member of the squad. There's a lot of players.
Kepa can fuck off, if
He can
I'm honest.
fuck right off.
Yeah.
And also, the other one that I thought about was Datro Fofana. Do you remember him? He came in, gone to Union Berlin.
Salzburg.
Union Berlin.
Right.
He's gone to.
How's he doing?
Rubbish. Barely playing for them. And they've had a shit season as well. The manager's not been backing him at all. So again, he's another one, like a Noni, that's come in under the new era, but will be a young player that's then sold off and moved on. Like, yeah, and this is
I
the thing.
really think Cassidy could do a job for us in midfield.
I do too.
I rate him, man.
I rate him, but then you go, let's just think about the centre mids. You go Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, Gallagher, Ugachukwu, Santos, and Cassidy. 7 players, and Carney. Carney even could be in that play. You know, 8 players going for basically 2 or 3 positions. You've got to make some if you're talking about players that have to go to get a squad down, this is then where I'm going now into my question marks. There's a few players that I don't know whether they'll be with us next year. That doesn't necessarily mean they'll be sold, but that, like, I don't know whether they'll be with us.
Because I've sort of been beaten into pessimism this season, I've been quite vocal about us not hanging our hat on these 2 guys just because they've been injured, and you know, it doesn't always transpire that the injured players come in and immediately hit the ground running. But when we look at January business, mate, we've already seen a glimpse of Nkunku, and for my money, he looks fucking good. I think he looks really good. Lavia could come in and be that too. And then all of a sudden, we're looking at it and we're like, fuck the market. We've got these boys under our noses and they come in and hit the ground running. So I think there's that potential. So I'm excited about that. So we more or less agree in here that we're not that bothered if we don't go for anyone in January.
I just don't see a player that is like on the market.
If Paulinho becomes available, would you go for him at 60?
I really like Paulinho, and I wish we'd almost signed Paulinho instead of a Santos maybe even. Like I would have taken the right here, right now.
You
over
could have
him.
not signed Santos and Ugachukwu, who I actually think is decent, and you could have got a Paulinho twice over probably.
You could, and he would have been playing week in, week out. Wouldn't have got injured, and I think he would be really solid. And he would make Caicedo and Enzo look better, because again, Caicedo is, I always think of Caicedo as the Kante role. Like when Kante first came in, he was that DM that you went, he's going to be the new Claude Makelele, sit at the base of midfield, receive passes and pass it on and do the dirty work. But he did so much more than that. And Caicedo is exactly the same. Enzo, again, doesn't want to be this hard-working, tackling DM. He wants to be getting up and down. So I'd almost want a player like a Paulinho. And this is where I actually think Lavia is going to end up playing. Lavia will end up being the sort of anchor man, and he'll enable other people to be going backwards and forwards. So I do think that we've got to start offloading central midfielders, and this is why for me I wouldn't necessarily go in for any now, and why I think Paulinho will end up going elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, there is our basic rundown in a nutshell of what we want to happen in this January transfer window and moving forward. The Chelsea business that we think's likely to see, that we want to potentially see. But more than anything, I'm very, very interested to know your guys' thoughts on this. I know you're going to get in the comments and let us know, so I'm very interested. I will be reading back all of your comments on this video. Please let us know. Do you think we should make any moves in the January transfer window in terms of incomings? It's inevitable. We're going to see outgoings because we have got a fairly overbloated squad, although it doesn't feel like it at the minute because of the injuries. But what business would you like to see done in January? Let me know in the comments section. As always, thank you for making it to the end of another video. If you like the content and you're not already, make sure you're subscribed. Also, subscribe to Josh's channel. It is linked in the description below. And also, my second channel is now live and active. I've been dropping videos off of it, and it is a boxing channel. I get that a lot of you guys are just into football and you might not be interested in boxing, but if you are, please head over there. It's linked in the description. I'm dropping multiple videos every single week, so please subscribe over there. And last but not least, if you are wondering where we record these podcasts from, it is Podcast Room in Barnes, southwest London. I'm going to link their website in the description. You can go on there and use Joey Knight as a discount code and get 25% off your booking at Podcast Room. People, thank you very much for making it to the end of another video, and I will see you all in the next one.